याच्या ठिकाणी पैसे टाकायचे आवडतं तेवढ्या पैशाचं काहीतरी खाऊन येईल घेऊन येईल समजलं.
नाही रे ते आता कसं माहितीये
Hello.
Yes, we can
Hello.
hear you. We can hear you, sir.
Okay.
Sorry for the inconvenience. Please carry on, sir.
So next slide, please. Now, every activity, now this applies to anybody here and not necessarily public speaking. Every activity requires some kind of planning and preparation. Similarly, in case of public speaking, since it's an activity, you will have to consider this. First of all, the purpose. Purpose is the most important thing that you need in a public speaking activity, any activity for that matter. Since this is pertaining to people, you need to have an understanding of your audience. And finally, the timing. Timing is basically, in case of timing, we are talking about the duration. Like in my case, assuming that I have a 30-minute window here, I should ensure that I don't overstep it. I do, because obviously the next speaker must be waiting in the line. Okay, 5-10 minutes here and there is okay, but generally speaking, as per the rule, it shouldn't be the general rule. It should be exception. So ideally, it should get over in 30 minutes. That's the whole idea. Purpose is the most important part of a planning and preparation for a public speaking, any activity for that matter. What you should do is basically, you have to identify, because without identifying why you are going there, why you're going to address people, won't make any sense. So you should know in beforehand what are you going to do, and accordingly plan what are topics you're covering, what are going, and structure your whole entire structure your flow and lecture in such a way that you gives that particular message, and the purpose is solved basically, for which you are addressing people in the first place. So that's it. Next is your okay. Next slide, please. Okay, so now when you see people addressing huge gatherings, like for instance Modi, have you ever seen him reading from something? Anybody?
No, Rakesh.
Okay, so then, and he can speak for hours. The 30 minutes is too less for him actually. He can go on for 1.5, 2 hours also non-stop. What makes him speak that long? And obviously he has a very good flow. If you see, he starts on a very gentle note, then it goes up, and then it comes down, and finally it ends. But basically his entire speech is very structured. So you know what he knows it too well, that what he's talking about. How does he manage that? 2 hours. Does he memorize everything? Is it possible? See, Kartik Aryan doing a monologue of 1 minute in, say, Pyar Ka Panchnama is a different scenario. That is still possible because actors are trained to do that. Actors, when they go for acting school, go in acting schools, or especially method acting schools like National School of Drama or FTIA, there they are actually trained to do long monologues. But a politician doesn't go to an acting school to learn. So he won't remember things that vividly. And that too for such long duration. Here we are not talking a 1 minute monologue. We are actually discussing 2 hours. So the only thing that I can predict from this is that he would be having some kind of notes or some system wherein he's getting some notes or pointers, basically. See, if you're a good articulate speaker, you need not have entire sentences written for you. You will need just pointers, like your first word, okay, one keyword, and then you frame your sentence or entire paragraph on the base of that. Similarly, so obviously on his podium, or maybe there would be somebody who is actually carrying a placard, or most probably on the podium itself there will be huge size notes in which it will be changing one by one, and there will be like the first word is your people, so he starts with all the people addressing ki aap Brahman or whatever. Okay. Then it comes to, let us say, Sinchai. So then he will talk about irrigation schemes, what we are doing for UP, what this we have. Then comes highways. The third part will be highways. So he'll talk about all the roads that they have made, 800 kilometers of roads, 1500, whatever. So similarly, so it has to be structured. And finally, it will come to the conclusion. Conclusion will also have pointers. So then that's how only I think humanly it is possible to deliver a speech of 2 hours non-stop, and he won't even take a water break for 1 minute in between that 2 hours. It will go on for 2 hours, as actually 2 hours. Okay? But still, one more thing, he ends it at specific timing. His speech, which is supposed to be for 1 hour, you won't see him going away for 2 hours. It will end up at 1 hour or maximum 1 hour 5 minutes. So that's the kind of precision he makes. Or for that matter, don't take me as a huge BJP loyalist or a Modi fan, something. I'm just, because he's one of the best orators for me in the country. Yeah. Irrespective, political ideologies can be different, political fan following can also be different, but he's one of the best orators that you can actually see or listen to. So that's why I'm using his example more forward. That's why I also use the Kartik Aryan example, because that kind of monologue, the 1 minute monologue which he did in Pyar Ka Panchnama, you mustn't have seen ever in Hindi films also, because that is also very tremendous capability to mug up an entire line of 1.5 minutes, and that too speaking with emotion, the emotion of anger, frustration, everything. So these are two extremes. One is Modi and other is Kartik Aryan. So that's how it goes. So basically your notes, you should have notes, and notes should be prepared. Notes should be your keywords, which will give you some kind of, basically that will give you the structure. You have a pointer, you build up on it the entire your framework, and then the whole building goes up. So basically your foundation has been laid, then you put the railings, then the construction goes on, your second floor, third floor comes up, and finally you reach the top floor. And you also put a lift so that you come down. So that's it. Now coming to the next part. So next slide, please. Okay. So this is what I was actually talking to you at the start of it, is that it is, as I said, even if somebody is addressing a huge gathering, don't assume that it is a one-way communication or one-way traffic. It is actually two-way. The thing is that there might not be any kind of interaction or response word-wise from the audience, but then they will respond by various reactions. There will be gestures, there will be postures, body movement hoga, there will be facial movements and things like that. See, now typical example is, if somebody is addressing a huge gathering, I'm not saying anybody's political rally, any gathering for that matter, where there are more than 1,000 people. Now, let us say if I'm addressing this gathering. Okay. Now, in the first row, I have ensured that Susmita is sitting there. Okay. Now, I have focused my eyes on her. She's a beautiful lady. Okay, first of all. So that is one advantage. Apart from that, I know her. I know her from before. So I have that level of interaction with her where I'm comfortable talking to her. So I am talking to her. So obviously, when I'm talking to her, irrespective of whether she's talking back to me or no, she will respond. She will respond in some way or the other. Either she'll blink her eyes, she'll give that typical cute smile or something of that sort. Now, there is another scenario. She is sitting in the first row. Yeah. I'm standing here on the podium. There is a distance of, say, around 10 feet in between. Now, immediately after her, there is some guy. Now, first of all, that guy is not interested in what I'm talking. Assuming, okay, he is not interested in listening to actually what, for him, I'm talking some crap. One. After 10 minutes or 15 minutes, what he does is either he spits or he takes out his phone and start talking on the phone, or worst, he actually moves out. Will I be able to concentrate on what I'm doing? Yes, anybody?
No, sir.
Why?
You will feel embarrassed.
No, embarrassed kyun? I had a beautiful lady sitting in front of me. I was talking to her. So why I will feel embarrassed?
It distracts you
Hello?
because
Yes.
because he distracts
Anybody else?
So it will be a disrespect to your speaking.
because he is distracting you.
Distraction. That is the, see, disrespect. I'm okay with disrespect. I have done even stand-up comedies. So people can actually shout back at me. So respect doesn't matter actually, honestly. And when you're in the business of public speaking, now you should keep ego and respect aside. Only then you can be a successful public speaker. As simple as that. So respect is something that you don't consider at all. Yes, distraction, yes. I was focusing entirely on Susmita. Okay. She's a lovely lady. She had a cute smile. Her eyes were blinking. I was okay with it. But now, just behind her, this was happening. That's why I got distracted. If this would have happened at the 100th row, it wouldn't have mattered to me. If somebody was talking on the phone, unless until he's too loud, or somebody actually walked off also, I wouldn't have bothered. Because I was not seeing that row. My eyes are focused on only on the first row, second, worst come worst, till 5th or 6th row. So anything happening here will affect me. So so you have to have control over these things also. Now, by control, I don't mean that you have keep bouncers in every first 5 rows, and anybody who talks, slap him or put him down, nothing like that. But as a speaker, I should notice all this thing, but I should concentrate on my comfort level only, so that I don't get distracted by such things. It's very difficult. Actually, it is very difficult. I have experienced it. That's why I can tell it from my experience. So these are some things which you need to keep care of. And when we talk about voice, see what is effective. How many of you have actually seen any interview or any kind of other talk from the Big B? Anybody? I'm even KBC for that matter, chalega, but otherwise an interview or any poem recitation. Big B means Amitabh Bachchan.
I'm sure everyone
anybody-
must have heard it. I'm sure everyone must have heard it.
But nobody is responding.
It's the lunch time, I guess. Everybody is hungry now. Yeah. No
Oh.
problem. We won't take much time. Yeah. So whoever is here, they could answer. I am sure everybody must have at least heard his poems. I guess it was there in Pink, the movie called Pink. There were some poems and lots of other
Ping,
movies.
otherwise also
Ah.
also on the net also
Yes. Because have you heard his poems or ever watched KBC?
Yes,
Yes,
I
yes.
heard his poem.
Now
big
we
fan
have
of-
two candidates. Now we have two candidates talking about Big B. That's great, huh? Okay. So what is the first thing that strikes about Amitabh Bachchan when you listen to him?
His deep voice.
Yes. His voice is one of the voices which is called the baritone, because
Yes.
not everybody get associated with that word baritone, because this is his voice is almost unique. Boom boom
Yes.
voice. Huh. I call him stereophonic voice. That's the, even if his kind of voice now, even if you are actually speaking some crap bullshit, people will listen because the
Yes.
voice is so impactful. So voice does matter, your voice tone. Now when we say voice, not everybody is born with a voice of Big B. So obviously you need to work on your voice. So what other things you need to voice can't change, your voice is same, will remain same throughout. Okay, there are mimicry artists who can mimic Amitabh Bachchan or for that matter any other actor, but otherwise your voice is unique. What you can actually work on is the pitch and tone. Pitch and tone means when you're talking about a particular topic, you need to understand the sensitivity of that topic and then accordingly tone your voice so that the essence of your conversation comes out. Same usage of your in the voice, this thing, it is called voice modulation. But here that is basically more to do with your people who are into business of RJs or radio or TV and singing. There it is called voice modulation. Here we'll rather keep it to pitch and tone. Pitch and tone because basically you need to change it accordingly, according to your subject, audience, everything. So all these things are, if you see, you're interrelated based on your audience, their response, and then how you speak to them. Okay. So till this point, I'm going great or doing good.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So Sushmita, next slide, please. Okay. Now here are some. Is everybody viewing the slide now? Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir. We can see it. It's non-verbal communication.
So basically, these are some of the examples of positive and negative examples of non-verbal communication. That example I've already shown you about the lady sitting in the front line and then somebody going distracted. So these are something which you can do. So here I don't wish to go into much deep this thing. Already I think the time is, your lunch time is coming very close to you. So you might be getting hungry, and then when somebody is hungry, his ears won't work effectively. So this is something which you can just go through it, and you can always come back for details in your question answer sessions. Now, how do you prepare? One question. Anybody has any idea of how can you prepare well for your public speaking session? Aditi? Hello?
We can hear you, sir.
Hello?
We can hear you, sir.
Huh? So just can somebody tell me how can you prepare for a effective public speaking session? Please unmute and tell.
We can have some pointers wherein we have to speak and what to speak about in the public meeting.
Okay. Anything else? This is something which we have already talked about. Anything apart from this?
We should first build the confidence.
Yes, good.
And also a person should have an ability to attract the audience.
Okay. Now you said confidence. Okay. Confidence of talking to people. What are the ways of getting confidence in speaking? Yes, anybody?
Confidence in terms of that we don't distract from topic.
No, that is okay. I'm saying how do you build up confidence for speaking to addressing a huge gathering or talking to a group of people?
Preparing a day before.
Good. How do you prepare a day before?
Just means we can not learn the whole speech, then we can use the short pitches, just like you said earlier.
Great. So that is the response I was expecting basically. See, one thing I can suggest to everybody here is there is an exercise called mirror talking.
Yes, mirror talking.
Because what happens is at the end of the day, you are your best judge. I mean, that's what I feel. If you don't feel you're good enough, then for sure people won't find you good. You have to first find yourself good enough to talk to people. Then only people will start liking what you're talking about. So one of the best ways of doing that is mirror talking. Stand in front of a mirror, prepare your speech with the pointers, and then start talking to yourself in the mirror. So you will understand the gestures also, whether you're doing them correctly or no. Plus you can actually see what you're talking about. And if you feel good at heart, your gut feeling says you're doing good, then believe me, you will do good there also. So this is basically, this is one of the what to call as tricks of the trade, which people use in every kind of communication exercises. Let it be your gatherings, let it be your corporate communication, let it be your huge gatherings, or even for that matter, acting. When people go for movies, rehearsals, even then, it is not necessary that somebody will do a rehearsal in front of a director only, because he has to rehearse. So while rehearsing, generally the best way of doing it is in front of a mirror, because mirror talks gives you the best response, because the person who is responding is you yourself. So that's why you should focus on that. That can be one of the best exercises of developing your skills, public speaking skills, plus gaining confidence also. And you know what is going wrong, so you can always correct that also. Now, basically, before I conclude my session, I would like to give you a small exercise. Actually, it is a 1 minute exercise. So ideally, you should be able to do it right now. But then, considering the time constraint, what I will suggest is you can just take it down and you do it at your own leisure, and then give it back to Susmita later on. And or even if you don't give, basically do it. That is very important. Select any random topics. Select any topic. You can put the slide. Susmita. Oh, this, just 1 minute. So ideally, this should take actually just 1 minute. But since you are probably listening to it for the first time, do it at your own leisure. But please share whatever you have done with Susmita at least, and then I can take the feedback from her how well you have done. And one more small exercise, and rather very important exercise from I expect it from all of you, all the participants, including probably Susmita also, is that give me a good feedback. When I say good feedback, doesn't mean actually good feedback, but constructive feedback where I have gone wrong, because that is what makes you a good public speaker at the end of the day. So that's all from my side. I'm Rakesh here saying goodbye. Thank you a lot.
Lot, sir. It was a very nice session. We surely got to learn something new. All of us, I'm sure all the students will agree. All the people, all the participants will agree with that, because some of them are not my students also, but they have joined us today. So yes, it was a very nice session. We got to learn something new. For
So
me,
will you please allow any of the participant to say that? I will feel better.
sure, they can unmute themselves and they can answer. And I'm also going to be
anybody.
sharing a feedback form with you guys. So please give us feedback so we will understand. Did you really like it or not?
Probably I'll refine my session and come back to you next time in a better way.
So we like your section very much.
What was that?
Yes,
We
sir.
like
We
your
like this
session,
very
sir.
much.
Okay, great. But that is an honest feedback, ना कि सिर्फ बोलने के लिए बोल रहे हो.
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
No, it's
because
really, useful
see,
for our day-to-day life.
the thing is that most of the times that I have seen when you are doing corporate training or anything, when your feedback form is filled, it is mostly just for the sake of filling the form. So I don't want that. Even if you want to say I was bad, I was horrible, I was pathetic, I'm okay with it. But give that. That is very important.
Yes,
because that
exactly.
will ensure that I'll improve the next time.
Exactly.
Okay. So, on a good note, saying goodbye. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you,
Thanks.
sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for taking out precious time and being with us and enlightening us on this topic today. And I hope everyone gained something from it. Okay. And I hope that you liked the workshop that we had over here. And I have shared a feedback form in the chat. Please fill up that feedback form. It will help us to improve. At the same time, it will help us to come up with new workshops like this. And you could also give us topics that you would like to come up with. We are also planning a workshop next month on say interview skills, like skills you should have for cracking the interviews. So I'm planning to come up with it in next month. Let's see how it goes. It's actually a little difficult for me to manage my time, as you all know how it is. I am sure that everyone knows that. So let's see. I will see you again, of course, in my class. If any questions, the group is open to you all. You all are added in the group. Please ask questions. And no issues. See you all. Have a nice day ahead.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Bye.